We, as a collective, hate reference fests, yet at the same time, we love a good crossover. We whoop at multiple Spider-Men, but cringe at Fortnite. It was kinda cool when Wreck-It Ralph did it, but then it got really stupid when Wreck-It Ralph did it. And I am right there with you, with an opinion that just keeps flip-flopping each time a movie comes out. I rolled my eyes at Free Guy's finale, yet I loved everything else. Andrew Garfield's existence hit me like a truck, and now from within the depths of the most shield company of them all comes Disney's Chip and Dale. And now, suddenly, we don't hate the references. Why? Just because now we like what's being referenced? Star Wars and princesses? Ugh! Ugly Sonic? Well, hell yeah! But what's actually the difference here? Why can we never make up our minds? And how has Disney, of all companies, managed to win us over? Well, I think it just comes down to the vastly different approach that Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers takes things. Some call it a spiritual successor to Who Framed Roger Rabbit. Look, there he even is! And sure, you can say what you like, but I still think these two are on entirely different calibers. Still, let's break this down. When you think of referential crossover fests, what movies come to mind? To me, it's Who Framed Roger Rabbit, Wreck-It Ralph 1 and 2, a bit of Free Guy, Space Jam 2, The Lego Movie, Ready Player One, and of course, good old Thomas himself. We won't break down each individually, I'm trying to keep the runtime short here, but some of these work and some of these work to just grind our gears. Namely, it goes good, bad, good and bad, debatably. And with Chip and Dale, it seems to be split down the middle. But the defining feature that splits these responses apart is the worlds of each respective film and how they integrate their references all together. Let's take, for example, one of the more egregious examples for reference here, Wreck-It Ralph 2. The idea for the franchise itself is actually quite funky and fun. The original movie gave us Sonic in his fresh cartoony goodness, alongside a universe where all video game characters live together in a local network. It creatively allows for the inclusion of all sorts of crossovers, from Mario to Cuba to Pac-Man, and it does so in a way that doesn't feel forced, as you can understand the logic of why these characters are here. Oftentimes, they are recurrent as a consistent figure in the plotline or in a particular region, which allows for a script to take us through its adventure without us feeling cheaped out on just giving us a "look at this, recognize this" moment. Then come round to the sequel, and this is essentially the premise verbatim. Look, it's Amazon! Now let's move on. YouTube comments, there they are. And the most demonstrative sequence of this entire point, wow, look, we've gone to Dindy World, mother! While the premise of this world would make for an allowance of a Disney segment, by making it a one and done moment the audience is just simply walking through, these feel less like a living extension of the film's universe and more like we're window shopping at some museum, desperate to get an emotional reaction out of us for just using our eyes. All at once, we're bombarded with a boasting catalogue of everything Disney can scrounge up in the moment and flaunt away, in a way that feels as minimally genuine as possible. They then do follow it up with a room full of princesses, which at least had some plot relevance, but still feels awfully forced with them all just crammed into a room together. Compare that to the world of Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers. In this world, the muse is the entire animation industry. Well, whatever the now monopolized Disney has gotten its hands on, and then some. The point is, all those cartoon characters from the 80s and 90s and beyond have continued their lives after their shows, and all live in one big hybrid world with live-action humans as well. Roger Rabbit style. But something that immediately stands out from Wreck-It Ralph 2 is the protagonists. They're not outsiders to this admittedly bonkers world, they're just a part of it. Not ogling at every scene, but accepting it around them, leaving many of the references themselves as background fodder. Not to mention, they're actually jokes. Butthead is running for senator on a bench. Gucci Dobby is canon. They scalped Sora. This one, even though it's just a visual reference, there's also an implication there. Having so many of the references not be addressed or even given the center of the frame goes such a long way in making the world feel more interesting organically, rather than turning and zooming at each individual bit like you're trying to point at something to a dog. No, not my finger. Look at what I'm pointing at. My point is, that kind of subtlety already goes such a long way. But there's more to it than that. The Disney on the internet sequence was shown off like some sort of convention, and yet Chip and Dale also has a convention sequence too. So what, am I just cherry picking the good bits to make a point and hiding the much more forced parts? Well, no, because even here, there's a bit of a difference. With Wreck-It Ralph, Ralph and Vanellope discover the hall, go all googly eyes, and Vanellope runs off hacking through the walls into the princess room, and we never see it again. Chip and Dale begins at the expo hall straight away. It's quite a whiplash, honestly, because suddenly we get Tigress and Ugly Sonic, the center of our attention, with full-on dialogue lines as well.
Oh, you want me to go fast? That's Sonic's thing. Ugly Sonic goes slow, baby.
And they're more than just eye candy, they're lingering comic reliefs, easing us into the logic of this world at, ironically for Ugly Sonic, a breakneck pace. And then we move on, Dale goes on some adventure or something, until we loop back round to the convention hall again. This opening scene wasn't just a hidden run of a setup, it was a callback in waiting, bringing us more importance to the plot and the relationships our protagonists have with the world, and expanding it to be much more than just something to look at. They could have easily done a, haha, look, it's homeless Sonic in the uncanny valley, but they didn't. Actually, wait, why wasn't he over there? But even if they had, the fact that this region is commentating on the ironic animation styles, that in itself brings so much more to the table for actually being a joke too, as well as giving us more depth to their cameo appearance, as one of the more appealing aspects of the Chip and Dale movie, in my opinion, excuse my Rick and Morty copy pasta for a moment, there's a higher sense of thought and depth going into this, as the world itself is poking fun and making observations at Disney and animation as a whole, which is just really cool to see. Political commentary is practically in everything we watch, whether you know it or not, but seeing it done on something more niche than direct politics and tackling the very industry this movie is coming from is just kinda refreshing and interesting. This truly feels like a non-Disney project from a core of animation veterans sneaking in this bodacious piece in a shoddy Han Solo disguise amongst their Disney overlords. I hear they too were stunned with what they were able to get away with. I mean, the Paw Patrol mutilated someone's genitals in this canon.
Paw Patrol attacked Sergeant Henderson? The doctors say he'll never have kids.
Hey, subscribe or see our other links. We have Mickey Mouse, not hostage. Mickey Mouse, what you doing? You can't just copy someone else's IP. I think it's time to draw some Rule 34. I think that's what half of these crossover projects were missing up till now. No, not the puppy thing. Oh! The fact many of the references have some sort of depth to them, be it truly comic moments with an unexpectedly hilarious character. Are we seriously gonna ask for the original release at this rate? The subtlety of background fodder or mental implications, or through the political commentary that comes with addressing certain aspects of the animation industry. All while keeping it organic in a world that, by odds and ends, somehow makes sense. The Lego Movie mastered a bonkers crossover in universe, whilst Ready Player One had background fodder that was often center stage. Space Jam 2 didn't get too in the way, but compared to Roger Rabbit, nothing could compare. I mean, hey, at least that movie was daring enough, or restricted enough, to actually do traditional 2D animation. That would be my biggest gripe with this movie. The Disney-fying sacrifice the team had to make, making many of their canonically 2D characters 3D models with bland cell shading. I get it, but it's still disappointing. Imagine the options if they allowed for more expression on the 2D variants, or actual squash and stretching, or if they reincorporated the painstaking efforts of shadowing 2D for live action, or adding practical effect interactions. But this is Disney, and mass producers gotta mass produce. Hey, maybe that could be tackled on the potential Chip and Dale sequel, or what's more probable is we'll get more of that one forced Seth Rogen moment.
What are you looking at? Honestly, your weird dead eyes. They are weird. Super weird. So funny.
This film isn't perfect. See, there are some forced bits. Just cast it as John Ratzenberger in all his Pixar roles next time.
So, where you from?
Hey, you like impressions? Gas can is my middle name.
All right, newbies, quit goofing around.
Now you've got me on board. And maybe dial back on the slightly tasteless child actor commentary kinda gone wrong. Peter Pan. Anyway, there's my thoughts on Chip and Dale, masked as a video essay. Now, if you don't mind me, I'm gonna go from one giant crossover medium into another. This is gonna be the trend for the next decade, isn't it? My name's been Daz, you didn't really care, and I'll see you in a bit.